Hey guys, welcome back to GRAZYTV, and today I felt very colorful today. Color. Very crystally, just felt very pastel-y today. You guys probably know that I started a podcast, and in this week's episode I'm gonna be talking about Korean mukbang YouTubers who are in the heat right now. Everybody is getting so much hate. If you guys want to know what that's about, click on the podcast link down below. Now today's case is super interesting. I had to share this with you guys. There's so many forensic evidences that's unlike any other cases that I've seen, and it's so interesting how police were able to draw down into certain conclusions just by using limited evidences. Not to mention, police believe this case happened about 14 years ago, so it's been a while and it's still unsolved. And you guys know, as time goes by, the harder it is to solve a case. Interesting thing is, police actually believe she's from another northeastern country, so technically she's a foreigner. Before we get started, you guys know sponsors help my YouTube channel out so much so that I'm able to continue making these great videos for you guys. And today's video is sponsored by Skinny Mint. You guys have been following me. I've been talking about Skinny Mint about 2 years now. They have a lot of products to set your own personal goals when it comes to diet and maintaining your weight. My personal favorite products that I use every single day, my favorite is the Slim Trim and Shake. This is like my third or fourth tub already, and I am using the green cleansing elixir, and I mix these two now to make my morning shake. This has 21 grams of protein, lots of vitamins and minerals. You can use this as a meal replacement, you can use it in cooking, you could use it as a post-workout, which I do to get extra protein. Monday to Saturday, every morning I have been drinking this without buying any outside food, and I've been replacing it for my breakfast and lunch. And then for dinner, I have dinner with my family, of course, great home-cooked Korean food. This has really helped me to let my bloating, especially my stomach area, go down. It's helping me to maintain my weight during quarantine. This is pure plant-based superfood, so you're not missing out on your vitamins and minerals. They also have super fat burning gummies to kind of like help with your cravings with any snacks. They also have 28-day detox, they have hot chocolate, they have coffee, they have a lot of varieties for you guys to check out. So remember to click down the link down below and use my code GEBABYK20 to get yours today. Especially get this one. I love this one. Get this one. Thank you Skinny Mint for sponsoring today's video. Alright you guys, let's get started with this case. This case actually got a lot of attention after they aired on 그것이 알고 싶다 back in 2017. 그것이 알고 싶다, you guys know, is #1 Korea's mystery channel documentary. There's already 1 million views on this, and there's a lot of opinion about what might have happened. So police believe this incident had to be occurred about 10 to 14 years ago. And this lady, her name is technically Jane Doe because we don't know who she is. There's no identity revealed. We don't even know where she came from, and no one has claimed to know her even till this day. It was in April of 2016 in Incheon Cheongcheon-dong area. This is like a tongue twister. Cheongcheon-dong. This town is known to be mostly like construction workers. There are people also living there, but it's not like a city where there's young people at all. It's mostly construction site. When workers were called to demolish this like rectangle cemented area, this rectangle little space was filled with concrete. So I mean, whoever the new owner of this building was wanted to get rid of it. Now this concrete area was also right next to like an outdoor porta potty technically, and it was really old. Now this concrete area was said to be about 4 feet in length, about 1.3 feet in height, so it's not that big. It's pretty tiny, and it was right under the outdoor stairs. So the workers were digging up this concrete area in order to just kind of renovate the place, and when one of the workers hit that concrete, a skull fell out. When he looked inside more carefully, he saw a bunch of big bones, which indicated that it was again from a human. Now it seems like this had to have been there for a very long time because everything else was deteriorated, and the only thing was found was bones and colored brown hair. Hair does last a very long time, so the hair would be there. Professional forensics were able to determine that this had to come from a female individual, and she had to be around 162 to 170 centimeters in height, and she had to be in her 20s. So not a lot of clues to work here. The only thing they found was a missing tooth on the bottom right side, which was likely before her passing. Also, with the bones and the DNA, forensic specialists believe that it might not be from a Korean. They did determine that the DNA or the bones were from a Mongolian descent, which means it had to be from a Northeast Asian, including Korea, Japan, China, Mongol. So unfortunately, this incident happened before 2011, and in 2011 in Korea, there was an enforcement where all foreigners have to get their fingerprints registered. So unfortunately, we don't even have our fingerprints registered. When police found the remains, they did put out flyers around the town to see if anyone could remember who she was, but no one really came to claim her, except some neighbors who might have remembered someone being foreign. Some of them remember her like walking around the town. She could have been a runaway, she could have been just some foreign worker that was working there, but there was other evidences that was infused with the cement along with the bones, and that was a cigarette pack and an instant ramen soup pack. Like I said, there was no DNA left behind because of the cement and just how long it's been. Now the neighbors are divided by possibly who could have done this job. Now number one opinion is that it could have been the building owners that could have been involved in this incident. If you were just a tenant in this building just living there, obviously if there was a big cement there in your own building, the owners would say something about it, right? Because it's your own building. Why is there big cement here in my building? What is this? So the owners would have definitely questioned any tenants, but there's no known record of the owners ever raising suspicions. It's safe to say if you were the owner of the buildings, no one would question you if anything odd was there. The second opinion is that it can't be the owners because the owners would know that if this building gets sold one day or if someone else dug it up by accident, they would get caught. Maybe it was by just a tenant or just someone that was just walking by and they decided to pick a random building and do this job. So police really were questioning the owners of the building because if you were the owner, you would have definitely noticed this weird concrete block that was there. So looking back at the history of this particular building, there were about 3 owner changes back from 1990 to current time. So from 1990 to 2000, there was owner Yoon. From 2000 to 2003, there was owner Park, where people say she just rented the building out to people and she never came around. From 2004 to 2015, there was 2 owners, mutual owners, Seo and Lee. They said that they used the first floor as their own construction site and rented it out to other people, the second and third floor. One odd thing was that this area was surrounded by mountains. So police are questioning, why would someone not bury a body in the mountains and bury it in the town, in a building, in such an odd location? So there might be a couple reasons why the suspect might not have buried a body in the mountain. Number one reason would be it could have happened during the winter. Now, it is really hard to dig up the ground in the winter because it is literally frozen and it's gonna be really brutally cold. They say that there's also a lot of dogs around this area in order to protect their building. So maybe they knew this area really well and knew that the dogs would wake up people during the middle of the night. Looking at the cement and how it hardened, this was not an easy job. One cement bag, they say it's about 40 kilograms, aka 88 pounds. So even with 2 grown men, it's actually hard to even hold one cement bag. Let alone to fill in this whole rectangle area, they had to use about 7 of them. You also need to use some water in order to make the cement harden, and they say you have to use approximately 42 of 1.5 liter bottles of water to do this job. So this is a lot of materials and a lot of time consuming thing to do. So people are suspecting that this job probably would have been done by more than one person. So let's go back to one of the only evidences that they found, which was the cigarette pack and the ramen. So this is super interesting because obviously they were able to look at the designs of the cigarette pack and the ramen, and they found that this design was actually only released from 2006 to 2008, which means the crime had taken place in these 2 years. One of the reasons why forensic professionals believe that this crime took place in midnight was because of these 2 evidences that was mixed in with the cement. They don't believe that the suspect did this in order to leave their evidences behind. They think that it was like really dark outside and they accidentally mixed it with the cement, and that's why it hardened with the bones. Cement experts also declare that these 3 layers that you see had to happen if you just pour the cement powder and just pour water, which isn't the proper way to make cement. This is more like the sloppy job, meaning this person was just in a hurry and they just wanted to get this job done. The only suspects or the person in question that we could do at this point was the owners from 2004, which was Seo and Lee. Not to mention back in 2004 to 2015, they owned a construction site in the first floor. Also during the time when they owned the building, they said that there was no indoor bathroom in the first floor. so they had to use this outdoor bathroom. People are thinking that it's super odd that this is your own building, you have a bathroom outside, and you don't notice a weird cement block right outside your building. Lee indicated that he did remember seeing the concrete, and Seo confessed that he did not remember this concrete thing. So back in 2015, it was said that Lee wanted to sell the building, but Mr. Seo did not want to sell the building. Documentary crew went to Seo and interviewed him to see why this was, and Seo started explaining that the reason why he didn't want to sell the building was because, you know, of future possibilities, but at the end he was having trouble with money, so they both just mutually decided to sell the building. So when the documentary crew were interviewing Seo, his wife would just suddenly like step in and get angry at the questions that they were asking him.
사람 사주해서 뭐 했다면서 그렇게 질문이냐고요.
사람이 지금 너무 충격을 받아가지고 약간 좀.
She was saying, why are you questioning us again? We already talked to the police. Anytime there was a sensitive question, that's when the wife would step in, get angry, but Mr. Seo was somehow just chill. The wife also expressed at one time, the incident is a very hard thing for me. Professionals claim that the statement is really odd because what is a hard thing for her? In what relation is it a hard thing for her personally? But we do have to question, if these owners were the suspect, why would they sell the building? They would know that one day they would get caught, right? Well, there might be an actual psychological explanation to this. A professional profiler says that if they were the suspects, it is likely uncommon for the suspects to think that if the body hasn't been found within a certain time frame, the suspects start to separate themselves from this incident in order to convince themselves that they are safe or that they won't get caught. So this is more like a psychological tactic in order to calm themselves. So when police was questioning them, one more possible evidence has surfaced. This was a photo taken in November of 2013. This photo was actually given to the police by Mr. Seo. Now, Seo claims that allegedly this photo was taken by a cleaning worker that he hired back in the day, 2013. So the man who was hired to do this cleaning job states that he clearly remembers this weird cement block that was under this building. So how is it possible that this cleaning guy who came there once remembers this, but the owners don't? Police were later able to backtrack this photo, and they actually found that this photo came from Seo's phone, not the cleaning guy. So Seo, I don't know if he was lying or he just got it mixed up because this photo was taken a long time ago, but he still claims that this photo was taken by the worker and not himself. The cleaning job guy also pulled out receipts from back in 2013, and he found out that he did not do the job in November 2013. He actually cleaned up the area December 18th of 2013. Now, another interesting, you might be thinking, well, if he really was the suspect, why would he take a photo? In a normal person's brain, we might be like, well, we just want to forget about it. We don't want to leave any evidences behind. But professionals say that this is also another psychological technique for the suspects in order to calm their nerves. If you take a photo, it would give the suspect a sense of relief, a relief that she's still in here, I'm still not caught yet. Now, when the documentary crew went to go confront him about this evidence, he all of a sudden shut down. He didn't want to answer any questions. He started getting angry, and that like chill vibe just started to go away. Now, unfortunately, it's been years and there's still no leads, there's still no suspects, there's no one that remembers this female. Police say that there is a 10-year time frame, meaning if the victim isn't identified within these 10 years, which about 4 years already passed, the remains will be cremated and probably the case will be just left unsolved forever. Not to mention, if she was from a foreign Asian country, it's harder to find her because there would be not a lot of friends and family that would come forward. Maybe the friends and family don't even know that she's missing. I really want to know what you guys think has happened. Do you think Seo and Lee, both of them, are suspicious, or just one of them, especially Mr. Seo? Maybe he knows something more than he claims he does. Maybe he didn't do it, but he's covering up for somebody else, or maybe he's just really sensitive. His wife is really sensitive because they don't want to be pointed fingers at. But a lot of people usually say if you're guilty, you usually lash out. If you're not guilty, you usually want to help the police to get some kind of lead. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed that, remember to like and hit the notification bell because I reply to all my early birds. And thank you Skinny Mint for sponsoring today's video. Have a magical day, you guys.